Okay, I had done a top 10 best units in Grand Cross like months ago for JP, which recently popped off. So clearly there was a market for a top 10. And should we make the list? But for global, I have here Mystic. He's gonna give
It's
his
good.
insight. He's a good player, so you know it's gonna be.
I pretend that I'm a good player, but
Yes,
everyone hates
you're
me.
just a JP elitist, but he's
I'm
he's
just
here.
a JP elitist.
He's here to help with his impa. And yeah, he helped me make the list. I had it was pretty much the same list, just rearranged, right?
It was just like one or two things different. That was really it.
Yeah. I forgot to put honorable mentions, but if I had to put one, would be or two, I think. Red Arthur, he doesn't make the list, but he's a really good unit.
I actually get
And
tilted by how much people want Red Arthur to be like the second coming of Jesus.
it's actually crazy. Yeah, he's really good. He's not God tier, but in Red D and Mele, I am including the original coin shop units. So all the coin shop units from the Sins except Escanor, because we have no idea when Escanor is gonna come out. I just put ones that will be, coming out. Gopher might even come out next week by the time I'm playing this video. So, for all we know, right? So that's a list we can actually, kind of use. But number 10, we have Counter Mele. And you wanna explain the point we were talking about before recording?
So I know, I think the biggest thing that people are going to see that we're putting Counter Melee at number 10, even though prior to going into this game or coming into Global, all we did was talk about reroll for Counter Melee. So it's like, why is he so low on the list? The main thing about Counter Melee is that he is one of, if not like the best unit to use to clear story. And this is still true today in JP, right? We're on like
To
chapter
this
200.
day, yeah.
Like, you could still run him, and he's still like, oh, he still does 1,000,000 damage with this full counter.
Mm-hmm.
It just one-shots fights. But the main thing is, that's all he does, right? It's for story. And he's the best unit to use in story, which is what people re-roll for, right? You re-roll for the best unit, give you the best start. So that's why he was such a high priority. But in terms of comparing him to the rest of the people, doesn't go that far.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? After you're done with the story chapter, you're going to be using the other units in the list. Jericho is in the list, and she's much better as a green unit in general. Mele is going to be better for story, but, PvP, guild boss, and stuff like that, You're not going to have much use for Meleos otherwise. But still, it still is the best unit to reroll for. Even though there are summonable units in the list, or one, he's still the unit to reroll for, because he is summonable and you can't acquire him from the coin shop. So
Also, I think the other thing to point out is that when you're re-rolling, it's not like you can get the coin shop units then.
mm-hmm.
So there's already a lot of units better than Meliodas, but the way you got them, you weren't able to get them on launch.
Yeah, I mean, just doing a rundown what he does. The attack card is really good. It goes 600%, right? But the main thing of his is the counter. The less HP he has, the more damage he does back, and has a multiplier on the damage. Pretty much means that whenever he has like really low health, which in difficult story chapters he will, he just does a bunch of damage, and he just one-shots whatever one enemy it is. Not very good for like multiple enemies, right? You just want to be mainly facing just one enemy, but this is how the design of the card works. It makes sense with the character. And that's pretty much about it for him. The ult is pretty good, stuns, but there's not much else to talk about. So I feel like we can move on to the next unit. Alright, for number 9, we have Gustav, which is the first SR on the list. Very useful, he's a freeze unit. Freeze is like a broken mechanic that they really try to hide in only 2 characters. Like, even to this day, there are only 2 characters on GP that freeze, which are Merlin and Gustav. Oh, and not actually the new Hellborn. Have you seen the new Hellborn that's coming out? Mystic?
I saw what he does, but I didn't get to read. I didn't
His
see
ultimate
stuff
freezes.
actually out.
His ultimate
Like
freezes.
videos.
There's no gameplay of him.
Okay,
Yet.
okay.
But he's not very good. Just a player. Yeah. But nonetheless, not many units freeze in the game. So that already gives him like an advantage, right? And then on top of that, his passive is actually really good for the activities that he's used on. He decreases the enemy's resistance by the value of his pierce rate. What I do is I just give him max pierce rate, right? So he just reduces the maximum amount of resistance of the enemy, and that's really good because resistance acts as sort of damage reduction. It's not really damage reduction, but it counters a lot of the damage that you do, especially with Pierce. And in general, really good because also the not only he freezes, right, so enables the enemy to be moving the next turn. He also increases damage by 80 or 200% in the level 3 card. So, have any more to add, Mystic?
Right. The main reason why Freeze is so good though is because when it comes to scoring events, right? So Guild Boss and in the future Super Boss Battle, but Guild Boss we can use as an example since it's already out. Everything that requires you to get some sort of high score and you're competing against other people, the best mechanic or combo is freeze into break the freeze for humongous damage.
Mm-hmm.
And Gustav and Merlin are the only one who can do it. But Gustav's an SR in the coin shop. You're gonna get him 6/6 within like your first 5 multis anyways of playing the game. And on top of that, he has a better passive than Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin increases her own Pierce, which is very like selfish. He reduces the resistance, which helps the allies, right? Which
Selfish Merlin.
he is a support unit, right? Both him and Merlin are support units, so that's just a much better passive in general. They're neck and neck, but if I had to pick a freeze unit, if not, maybe I'm facing a red enemy, right? Maybe Merlin's better because then she has a less chance of dying. But Gustav is
Another thing is, if you're running Gustav as your freeze unit, you can then run Green Merlin, right? Just in case you need Green Merlin. But if you're running Red Merlin, then that locks you out of using any Merlin.
That's also a thing, right? If you're using Escanor in your team, and you're using Red Merlin, you can't use Green Merlin for the Fate combo. That's not gonna play on Global, right? Escanor is not in the game, but it's just a thing to look for in the future, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's it for Gustav. This is just a really solid SR.
Yeah.
Alright, next up on number 8, we have SR Elizabeth, and back-to-back SRs, that's pretty pog. But pretty much, she's pretty short. What she does is, she's a back unit, right? She's the 4th slot of your team because she heals all allies by 10% if they take any damage. That could be 1 damage or 10 billion damage. She heals 10% of their max HP. That's so helpful. I actually to this day use her on GP, and whatever activity she's on, she's just gonna be a helpful support unit, and that's pretty much what I can get from her. Mystic?
It was mind-blowing when I forgot who was the second Super Boss Battle to come out on JP.
Gopher.
Gother, right? Mm-hmm. So when Gother came out, and I saw that it's like, oh, people are using this Elizabeth, I've not used her yet. And I'm like, oh my goodness, why don't we use her for everything?
Yeah, she's so, actually, I was playing on Global, right? I got from Champions 5 to Champions 1, losing 1 match. I lost 1 match, which was I just got obliterated by a whale. But I lost 1 match, right? And I was using the N King, counter Mele, and her. And it was working so well. It's just the healing for 10%, because most fights are bots, right? Yeah. They just don't annihilate you turn 1. And you just keep healing, and that passive heal adds up. Every turn you keep healing 10%, it just adds up over time. So she's just a very solid unit, just in general. You can use her in the back of any raid team. You can use her in the back of any team. So long as you're not using another Elizabeth, which there aren't any really good Elizabeths other than her, really. So it's like, yeah, she's really good. That's all you have to say. She's really good.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just move on to the next one because there's not much of an explanation, right? She just heals. That's all you need to know.
She's a healer. Like her moves are irrelevant.
Here's the thing, right? Right now on GP, so it's not very relevant to the list, right? Right now on GP, on Crimson, I use her in the front because her card gives 2 ult gauge. Yeah. So you have Gopher ranks up everyone's card, right? She gets to level 2 and then she gives everyone ult gauge. Really helpful, and then heals as well, right? But yeah, moving on to the next one. Okay, number 7, back to back SRs. We have GILF, which I'll let Mystic talk this one because I talked the last 2 ones.
GILF, most broken unit. Not most broken unit, but he easily outshines like 90% of the SSRs in this game. You can even look at the unit rating on the GC database and just see that he's used in everything. He's used in Guild Boss. He's used in Red Demon. He's used in Grey Demon. He's used in Crimson. And then, especially of all, he's used in PvP. And I'm sure, like, if you played any games of PvP, you kill one unit and this guy just pops out. Because he's got such a busted passive for PvP. His cards are not, in PvP, his cards are irrelevant, right? His attack up is fine. But the increase allies' defense-related stats by 30% is amazing. You increase their defense, their
resistance. Their resistance is the big one,
right? And it's also resistance. So it's defense, resistance, crit resistance, and crit defense. So 4 stats that get buffed. Which is why Jericho is hard to deal with, like, other way around, sorry. That's why it makes it easy to deal with Jericho if you're using Guild Thunder. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it just makes the fights last so much longer. If you use him and, like, take him off your team and go into another match and see how much more, it's massive.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? You're literally reducing Jericho's chance of critting you by 30% and reducing the damage by 30% from Jericho, and you give the damage reduction from the resistance and you get the extra defense, so it's just a very hard counter to units that just do just one burst of damage, right? Guild Thunder is really good. You said that, like, his cards are irrelevant on PvP. If he pops out and he does the boost, right as you're gonna, like, do an AoE ultimate, that's it.
That is true. I've had a couple times where he pops out and he just happens to have, like, a level 1 attack card, and then someone else has an ultimate. And it's like, oh, I guess I die.
Yeah, but those moments, right, where you have, like, a King ultimate, which on global right now you have King, like, 1/6, doesn't hit that hard, but then you have Guild Thunder pop out, it uses level 1, 30% extra damage, just boom,
right, just
like that.
Right. My point being that his cards are not what make him amazing in PvP. It's his passive is why everyone cares about him.
His attack card is completely irrelevant. There's like ×2 damage against buffed enemies. No one's buffing.
It's relevant in every game mode. But on the other hand, when it comes to PvE, all you care about is his attack boost. 60% attack up. You need him in every single raid.
Man, imagine if his passive worked in PvE as well. That'd be actually pretty wild. He would be even more up.
In PvE, he would be like top 3 units in this game.
Okay, calm down.
I stand by it. Imagine 30% defense-related stats in PvE? You're out of your mind if you think this guy is the top 3 best units in the game.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? You have, like, units that do specific typing, but they do 60%.
Yeah, but they also don't increase your attack by 60% as well.
True, okay. But yeah, he's just really good. He's just really good. It's another one that you just use him in the back, right? Just like Elizabeth. But you're using him in the back and he's doing stuff. He's just actively doing stuff. Usually, I see people using, like, counter Mele as their 4th unit in PvP. And I'm like, why? Why would you use him in the back? It makes 0 sense. By the time he comes in the field, right? He's not gonna be, you know, low on health to do, like, a really hard counter or something like that. Like, Guild Thunder being in the back, he's just helping your team in the front. No one died, right? Because if he comes to the field, he doesn't do much, but if no one dies, he doesn't go to the field. So it's pretty much how he works. So moving into the next one. Moving on to number 6, we have free-to-play Blue DN. And stupid good name for PvP. I've been saying on my videos, people keep asking me, yo, what team do you use? So people, they tag me on Twitter, right? Yo, what do you think of my team? I keep losing, what do I do? And they never have DN. And that's like I've made like 5 videos saying, please use DN in your PvP team. She's really good. But people are like, oh, she's a free unit, man. There's no way she's good. She's super good on PvP. Not only, right? Her ultimate hits super hard, which that's one of the reasons why she's good, right? Her ultimate hits super hard. Most of the time, if you take like 4 turns or 3 turns to get her ultimate, she's gonna one-shot because her passive is that she increases her attack by 6% per turn, right? Not only that, but she also can seal attack, which comes in handy so many times. Getting an extra attack card for her in the first turn, mixing it up, and then attack sealing someone so big, because then they're forced to use a cleanse if they want to use that specific unit, right? Everyone's is king, but they're gonna have to sacrifice a heal to use a cleanse, which is big. So, especially when I'm facing Jericho, the first thing I do, I just attack with Jericho. What is she gonna do? What is she gonna do? So, Yeah, but it comes with the problem of that's all she does, right? She's a super good in PvP, but she doesn't have much use for PvE currently. You can use her for farming, but not the greatest. The ultimate's really good for farming, right? If you get the ultimate, she can destroy. But her AoE card, like 100%, she needs the enemy to be buffed, which is just never happening, right? You have anything else to add?
So it's like, Diane's in like a weird spot on this list, because if this was a pure PvP list, she would most likely be number 1 in my opinion. Currently, like at this point in time.
Yeah, we're talking about this point, right?
Right. So I'm not talking like Gother's weird, because like Gother's probably better, but like currently right now, if you were to do a PvP list, like Diane is number 1 PvP user, and it's pretty much for the exact reasons that you explained. But her PvP is like on the complete other side. You use her in PvE right now for farming and stuff, but eventually it's just like she doesn't do anything. She's not needed for any of the raids. You don't need her for guild boss. You don't need her for red, crimson, gray.
Man, she's terrible in red. When I see people running her in red, I just want to quit. She's not good.
It's like she's fine, right? But that's it. She's just like fine on PvE. So because it's an overall tier list, she's in the middle.
Yeah, but she is so good in PvP that she deserves the 6th spot. It's just that everyone else on top of her is good for pretty much PvE and PvP. Yeah.
Right. We were talking about we just wanted her on, like, it's like we want to put her higher, but it's hard to.
Yeah, if because I like making them overall tier list, right? Because this is not just a PvP game. It's you play everything. And I can't put her higher than this. But yeah, again, if you tag me on Twitter asking why you're losing and you're not using the N, I'll actually block you. I'm joking. But it's all the time, like Zed. I talk to Zed every day on Twitter pretty much, and he still hasn't leveled up his DN. It just bugs me. What am
First unit you should have maxed.
It's just because it's the end. If it was Escanor, 100%, he would have already had her leveled up. But it's because it's the end. No one likes the end. Okay, that's untrue. But a lot of people don't like the end. And that's like, I feel like one of the reasons why she's so underrated. But such a good unit. Never got to use her on GP, actually. When I came in on GP, she wasn't mad anymore at all.
No, she was already out.
Yeah, but when playing global, she's so fun, actually, because you have her and King, and those turns where you get both their ultimates, you just laugh at the enemy. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Unless they have like 3 freezes, then okay.
I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah, unless that happens, what is he gonna do? He's just gonna die. You pick your poison. You're gonna take a note from King or from Dian. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on. Alright, next up is the 5th spot is Ban, and this one I'll let Mystic talk again, because...
Oh man, I love Ban so much! Oh, this unit is great. Pretty much, PvP monster on top of, like, the literal best farming unit in the entire game.
Right now.
So, no, it's like, even in general, until what, like Demon Meliodas comes out, and Blue Demon Meliodas, with Lilia, does like someone become a better farmer than until then. But either way, farming is like important, but it's not like farming alone doesn't make a unit good. So Ban, his AoE, the same way how we were talking about Diane in the previous one, where her ultimate AoE is so strong, Ban's AoE is on the same level, but it's just normal cards. And that's because the main thing with Ban is his 2-card combo, right? So Snatch into Drain. Snatch takes 20% of all, level 1, takes 20% attack and defense from all 3 units and adds it to himself. And then Drain is just AoE whip, do 1 billion damage because you took all those stats. The nice thing about it as well, when a move doesn't require you to hit the enemy, the effect will always go off. But if a move requires you to deal damage, so let's say Green Ban, the one that was out in the game from day 1.
I can open him up.
Oh, okay. So that Ban does single target damage, right? And then he takes away stats. If for whatever reason they have a Merlin barrier up, or you don't have enough attack and it says like, you physically don't do damage to them, the effect will never go off. And that's like one of the downsides to having to deal damage to get an effect. So this effect is guaranteed, and then you whip them. I shouldn't say that. Then you hit them for massive damage. And my favorite combo is turn 1. If you get 2 bond drains, I just go snatch, drain, drain, and it usually does like 80% of their health on all 3 units.
Yeah, he's a monster in PvP right now on global as well. It's really hard to counter him, especially if they go first and they end up like getting lucky with 2 bond attack cards.
It's over.
Like, the best way of really countering him is just stalling with DN and King, and that's hard itself because they're blue.
Right. Just does so much damage. His passive is really not that relevant when it comes to PvP.
Or most of things in general.
Yeah, like you kind of just forget about it. If his 2 cards plus his ult drain.
Like on paper, this passive is insane, right? Because it reduces the HP related stats, but one time or another, he's gonna take the damage and they're gonna get the HP back.
Yeah. So it doesn't really get used that much. You don't use them in any of the raids either. But he's just really good. He is good in story, where you use there are multiple fights where you have to verse 3 things at a time, whatever, and then multiple things show up. But PvE farming, and as much as people don't think it's that important,
it is.
Farming speed is huge, right? I'm sure plenty of you guys have already done this, where it's like half off stamina on books or SP missions, right? And you're farming your books, you're farming your EXP pots, whatever you're farming, right? And you leave it on overnight. The difference between using Bond and not using Bond might be the difference of like another 75 runs by the time you wake up. So it's actually massive.
It's true. You want to have your team just run it faster. Like, even if it's not overnight, right? If you're just playing the game, you're like, oh, I just want to live the game for like half an hour and then I'll come back and get the items, right? Just having it just do more time is just overall better. So he's just fantastic for farming. And if you're doing like extreme stages on boss battles, you might just die. But Ban, because he's reducing their attack, they just don't do damage to you. So it's
another thing we didn't really mention is the lifesteal.
Oh, that's true.
Built-in 10% lifesteal, and then on his drain card, level rank 2 and 3 both have innate lifesteal. And if you get even the level 2 card, you heal to a full pretty much every time. So it's hard to kill him. If you don't burst this Bond down, he's really sticky. He just doesn't die.
Yeah, I really like Bond. I also missed Bond, the meta for Bond on GP, but on global
man.
But on global I've had my fun already using him. So yeah, I think we can move on to the next one. Okay, moving on to number 4 on the list. Might be surprising because she's very new, and a lot of people might just underrate her just because of the nature of the unit. But it's Merlin. Merlin is another sneaky good unit because most of all you're just gonna use her in the 4th slot. But a lot of times you're gonna want to use her in the front, right? But the main use for her right now is, I use her a lot on JP. She's on my main PvP team on JP. Is the extra ult gauge that she gives to all the allies, and you can just use her in the 4th slot, and her passive will work, right? Her passive is like genuinely just really good, and you might not even think that because just 1 extra orb, what is that? But when you think, right, that if you go second on PvP, you also get an extra orb. And if you use an orb food, then at that point, you have 3 orbs for all 4 of your units, actually, because Merlin counts, right? In the beginning of the battle. So it's actually really stupid. And a lot of people do that on JP on purpose. They go second on purpose to have 3 orbs, or maybe 4, because maybe your unit on the left combines a card, right? Anything can happen. So adding up all those things is really good, and depleting the orb gauge is also just really good as well. A lot of PvE activities, the enemy displays what cards he's going to use, right? So if he has the full ult gauge, and you take off the ult gauge, he loses one of his moves, which would be the ultimate. That is like a kind of a life hack, right? A lot of people might not just know that. It's just super useful.
If you use red SR Bond, it's the same exact move. So if you ever like, man, I love this SR, like, for me, SR Bond is such a good unit for that exact reason, and he's like a must-have to get through the story. And Merlin just has that move as well.
Yeah, and she's much better than him because then she also has Perfect Heal, which is much better than his yellow card,
whatever
right?
his thing is.
Yeah, Perfect Cube is great. She puts a protection for all the allies based on her health, and it's just really good because I even mentioned, right? If an enemy doesn't do like damage, he's not gonna apply some debuff, right? So let's say you're facing an enemy that, you know, I don't know, petrifies you. If he doesn't break the shield to petrify, it doesn't count. And you know, just taking less damage by not taking the damage is also really good. So overall, just a fantastic support unit. It's so good she's at the top of the list, like number 4, right?
Yeah,
And,
I remember when, for example, like your JP list, because it was like community vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many people just like didn't put Merlin that high because she's
Yeah,
not
I think she
flashy,
was number 8
right?
or something.
Yeah, she's just like not that flashy. She doesn't do massive damage. Her ultimate hits hard, and like her sphere explosion thing does decent damage on rank 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, she's not your DPS unit. So people don't think of her immediately as like,
Yeah, because
this unit is
Golfer
amazing.
was number 3 on that list, and Golfer is the best unit in the game.
Yes, sir.
But he doesn't do
Also,
big damage. So
I disconnected for a second, so I don't know if you mentioned it. But for hard and extreme guild boss, extreme's not out yet. But Merlin is going to be super useful. I use Merlin already on hard just because it is difficult right now since we are still new to the game. So beating hard takes a little bit of time, and he just one-shots you.
Mhm.
So having Merlin to do exactly what you said before, remove the one ultimate gauge, delay a turn, stop him from doing 3 attacks and only 2 attacks is life-saving.
yeah, in the beginning when I started playing GP and I started doing guild boss, I actually did that. I was using Merlin in my team, even though the guild boss was red. Even though he was red,
Right.
I would still use Merlin to
Doesn't
take off the
matter.
ult gauge.
So good.
It's just a really helpful card. Like taking off the ult gauge, man. Those units also that have take off the ult gauge AOE, it's just so stupid.
Oh.
They are so stupid that they have to do level 2 for that instead of just level 1, right? But yeah, just
If it was level 1, it'd be a nightmare.
oh yeah,
my
no,
God.
it's like having stun on level 1, right? You just can't do that. But yeah, that's pretty much Merlin. She's a really good support unit. I mean, she does good damage, right, with her level 3 and ult, but she's still considered a support unit because, you know, shield, the ult gauge, taking off ult gauge is like a support kind of thing, right?
And then the passive, of course.
Yeah, the passive is big. The passive is like the biggest thing for her, to be honest. Like she has a lot going for her, but the passive is like the passive is like the most that she has. So yeah, I think we can move on to the top 3 finally. All right, so for the number 3, and you might be surprised because she's such an easy unit to obtain. You know, you can buy her dupes in the coin shop. It's Jericho in Let Mystic talk.
Oh man, Jericho has to be currently on global, my favorite unit. And I've been a fan of Jericho since day 1. Reroll tier list, I had her as the best unit to reroll for beyond counter melee. And it's really like, it's showing itself more and more as the game progresses. Hardest nuker in the game and will remain the hardest nuker until Derriere comes out. And we have some time before then. You know, the game's been out for 9 months on JP and we just got Derriere a month ago.
Last month, yeah, pretty much.
So you have a while, and Jericho is gonna, you know, at the top for a really long time. But the main thing about Jericho is her passive infinitely increases crit chance for each skill you use. So that's the main thing, right? It starts off with base 30% crit chance, and it scales infinitely to whatever, right? As many skills you use, it just keeps
Might
scaling.
even be higher because you have like outfits and stuff, right? And the star system.
It really only goes to like 35% with outfits and stars.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's still fine, but 30% base, and then the main thing about her is so you're scaling up. You have her 2 cards, but the main thing is her ultimate, right? The Sever, the 2 times crit damage, or Spike. What's Sever? Sever is the crit chance, right? Whatever. So Spike, 2 times crit damage. So you stack her up with crit damage gear, crit damage substats, nuking for millions, while
Yeah.
the next best unit can hit like 300k at most.
Yeah, on JP, on Type Disadvantage on Guild Boss, I managed to hit with her for 3.5 million. And I don't even have the best road UR gear for her. So, it's like, she's still stupid to this day on JP.
No, she's the first unit that I already have her 6.
Yeah, because you're wild.
I managed to get her 4/6 from dupes and things like that, and then I bought her remaining copies even at max 30 coins. Don't care about the discount. Just get her 6/6. It's a monster. And on top of that, you can even use her in geared PvP. Just the combo of bleed into flash attack does like you just kill people. Turn 1, I've killed multiple people on geared. Just if they don't have a Guild Thunder in the back, I go Jericho level, like, you know, bleed into flash attack, and I have killed people's like kings and DNs with just those 2 cards and nothing else.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the kicker. When you get super lucky and you get an extra flash attack, you have her on the left, right? You get an extra flash attack, they combine, and you get another one. So you have the bleed, a level 2 and a level 1. You just fucking destroy whatever unit, right? Whatever unit is in her front is just not there anymore.
Type advantage, type disadvantage, doesn't matter. Now the only like downside
she
is
can almost like guarantee crit. At that point, she's like 60% doing 3 cards.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a big chance.
Yeah, the only thing is she's pretty weak when it comes to defense-related stats.
0% resistance.
Yeah, she gets crit a lot. She just dies to stuff pretty easily.
Crit
So
defense and crit resistance super low. Oof.
When it comes to PvP, she's gonna fall off. As soon as Hellbrim makes his debut on PvP, you won't see Jericho anymore. But
Yeah,
until then, Jericho is gonna run a train through everyone in PvP.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? A lot of people keep asking me if going over 100% crit chance even matters, and it does.
Yes, it matters so much.
Because there's a thing called, is it crit resistance or crit? I think it's crit resistance, right? Just to be clear.
Defense is
some units
damage.
have like 60% crit resistance. So even if you have 100%, you're still only gonna have like 40 against them, right? So going over the 100% is actually big.
It also matters for events like Great Demon, for example, right? Great Demon has built-in like 30 or 40% crit resistance. So even if you hit 100, I use Jericho all the time in Great Demon because she's 6/6. I can actually just one-shot phase 2 of Extreme Great Demon. But if you don't crit, it's rough. So even with 100 crit chance, it's not a guaranteed. You need 130%, 100% to actually hit the crit every single time. So going over the fact that it can stack infinitely actually matters.
Yes, I think that's it for Jericho. She's a super like stupid DPS unit, and that's a unit. Right? We just talked about Merlin, right? How she's sneaky good. Jericho is flashy good.
Yeah,
she's showing the numbers. So yeah, I think we can move on to the top 2, which is you know, it's the number 2 unit is actually a free-to-play unit, which is actually pretty exciting. So. Okay, as a number 2 spot, we have the unit you get on chapter 3 of the game, which is Blue King. And again, just like DN, I see people like DMing their box and like, who should I work next? And they have like King level 50, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Choco, who only has King level 70 on JP.
Mika as well, he has King level 70. And I'm like,
Choco, maybe it was Mika.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's Mika. What are you doing, my guy? He's one of the best units in the game, even to this day on JP. And it's mostly because...
But King never falls off. He's just amazing.
Yeah, the healing is stupid. Like, a lot of times, like, this is a lie. This right here is an absolute lie. 30 and 50%, these numbers don't exist. I see King fully heal with a level 2 card. This right here is a lie. He heals whatever he feels like he heals.
It's okay, I'm feeling good today. We gotta...
No, legitimately, I was playing Geared today, and my enemy had like 20% of all the HP because I was using the new Meliodas and he does AoE, right? And he fully healed with a level 2 card, and I was like, but my King doesn't do that.
It scales off of attack stat, if I remember.
No, it doesn't. It heals diminished HP of allies by 30%. It's like, it depends on their own HP.
Originally, before Global came out, the text used to read based off of attack stat.
No, that's other units. Lilia has that. A few units have that, but King has been always like deplete HP.
Okay.
Right? His heal is weird. Sometimes he heals way too much. Sometimes he heals just enough.
Right, but then this is like the one time where people don't know what this stat does. Recovery rate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. recovery rate actually gets taken into effect over here. So how much you get healed gets adjusted by your recovery rate. So it's 30% of diminished HP, but then it gets multiplied by that recovery rate. So that's why a lot of the times where these random bursts of healing that you don't see where they're coming from, most likely has to do to that.
I love his ultimate. He ends with the end on his lap. It's really good. No, but he's a fantastic unit. It's just it's hard to explain why he's so good, because looking at him at face value, right? He has Petrify, which, you know, it's really good, but for specific PvE activities, it's just not going to be useful. And heal, other units heal. So why is he so special? I don't know, man. He just works. What can I tell you?
His kit is, like, perfect.
And then his ultimate hits so hard. And his multiplier, it doesn't even look high, right? I mean, it looks high, 420. But it doesn't look that high. But ignoring resistance is so big because resistance acts as damage reduction. Just ignores that. Every unit has resistance except Jericho. Every unit has resistance. And he just completely ignores that. He just says, this stat doesn't exist.
You get this unit at 6/6, doesn't matter their element, you just press the ult button. And
I have him 6/6 on JP, and he one-shots every green, and he one-shots Green Escudo. He doesn't care. He does not care. And, I mean, he just works. We were talking about his passive, right? That he boosts Fairy's basic stats by 8%. How it's kind of a meme, right? But when Hellbrim comes out, he boosts Hellbrim as well. So he's boosting himself and Hellbrim, and then Hellbrim boosts himself with his own passive as well. That's why Kingbird works so well.
Hellbrim just gets so much extra damage off of percent. Well, Hellbrim gets 5% per alive unit. So he gets 20% for himself, and then he gets an additional 8% off of King. So it gets a lot of extra stats. But I was mentioning before that, like, 8% really isn't that much. What I was saying was, what if they made it like, because we were talking about, like, what if King had a busted passive?
Yeah, because his passive is good, but it's nothing crazy.
Like, you give him 20% basic stats for allies and not himself. And then you can start building the meme teams of Fairy only, which is currently only Elaine.
In Hellbrim.
Yeah.
That's
you get some other people, like, we get Gloxinia, sure, but...
There's no coin shop Gloxinia coming out, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, right now, you know, King is top 2 best. I mean, if we're counting right now, in the present, global,
#1
King
unit.
is the best unit in the game. But because the next unit is coming out next week, we hope.
Yeah, most likely 2 days from now.
Yeah, then, you know, he will be #1. But as of right now, as the time of recording, and if, you know, Golfer, which is #1, doesn't come out by then, he is top 1 best unit in the game, and he's given on story mode. Do I have to repeat that?
This is a unit you get for free.
He's given on story mode. Because Jericho, I'll consider Jericho free to play unit as well. Because you can get her for 20 SR coins. And any person in this game is gonna have 20 SR coins. Come on. Come on.
It was different in JP, where, like, you had to summon for her until, like, last month.
Yeah, JP Shaft.
I had her 6/6 like 3 months ago on JP. It took a while, and I have her 6/6 now on Global within month #1.
Yeah, so, I mean, Global has some big advantages over JP. Launch, specifically, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, move on to #1, which is going to take a little more explanation, because probably a lot of people don't know what he does, but, you know, it's the best unit in the game. Alright, now to the #1 best unit in the game. Till this day on JP. And it's gonna be hard to really fall off, you know? It's Golfer. He is the best unit, and it's almost impossible to dethrone him, because he ranks up cards for the allies, and for himself, right? He can rank up his own card. And just having this flexibility is just what makes him so good. And just looking at face value, this is kind of like King, where looking at him, just looking at what he does, you might not think he's so good. But when using him, you really realize how stupid broken his own thing is, right? Let me do this, and this will rank everybody up, right? On my cards right here. So you see how this can be stacked. He can rank up cards, and if you have 2 of his cards, right? Let's say a level 2 and level 1, you can literally rank up every card in your hand. If you're doing a raid, you can rank up the cards in everyone's hand. And that just, having all 3 cards
It's not
is really
just
good.
it's not like it's just the cards that you're not using that get ranked up. Any card, like let's say you're using 6 cards because you're in a raid. If you do your rank up first, the other 5 cards that are being used after it also get ranked up.
Mm-hmm.
And you stack them with your teammates rank up, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you have like 42 cards that are ranked up golden. It changes the way the game's played, right? The game is so much different when Gother exists.
Yeah, because right now, you try playing global without Gopher, right? Because I use Gopher in most of my teams on GP. And getting level 3 cards is so hard. Getting level 3 cards is so hard, but with Gopher, let's say you get level 2 card, that became a level 3 card. Because let's say you get 2 level 1 cards, which is not so hard, but then getting 2 more level 1 cards, then that gets a little more, more challenging. But with Gopher, you just rank up that one level 1 card, plus the other level 1 card, and boom, this level 3 card. And it's just so much easier playing the game with him. He is used for everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. We take him on blue raids.
You take him? PvP, cancer unit. PvE, cancer unit. I don't know anything else, but he's cancer there too. You use him everywhere. If you're not using Gother, you're playing the game wrong.
And a lot of people don't talk much about his passive, right? Because it kind of works like Ban, where Ban's passive is that he reduces the HP of the enemies, right, by 10%. If he takes damage, it resets. His is he boosts the attack of the allies, but if he takes damage, it resets. Now, if you have Gopher with a lot of defense and resistance, and he doesn't take damage, you can stack a permanent 50% attack for all the allies, so long as he doesn't take damage, right? And that's also really stupid. And whatever turn, like, he doesn't take damage that turn, that's 10% attack for all the allies, So...
It's just free damage boost.
Yeah, you don't even notice. You don't even notice, but it's there. The 10% attack boost is just there. And attack silly. That's also super stupid.
Oh my god, so cancer. He's like the first unit that utilizes that AoE attack seal. And we were talking about Dian, right? Dian's attack seal is still a level 2 card.
And it's single
target. Gother's is an AoE version of that same card.
Yeah, and
like,
let's say you don't get the extra level 1 card. He can rank himself up to have the level 2 card.
It's so stupid, man.
Like the one thing that I like to do, right? If you have 3 level 1 Gophers, you'll rank himself up. You rank himself up again, because the 2 other level 1s are going to become level 2s. And then you rank up again with level 2, and everyone gets ranked up, and then it becomes level 3, and the level 3 boosts basic stats by 20%. He's just stupid. He's just stupid. Just busted unit. And his ultimate, which doesn't hit super hard, but depletes ultimate gauge, which is so good as well. So useful.
It hits harder than you expect.
Yeah, at 6-6, with King Link, hits super hard. But 1-6, 350 doesn't hit that hard, right? But taking off that ult gauge is just so good, especially because it's AoE. And yeah, if you have him with King, you literally take off all their ult gauge. Every single orb they have, it's just gone. So, best unit in the game. I don't think there's. Can you explain it any further? It's just the best unit in the game.
Just a bit, yeah. It's one of those things. Me and my friends, we like to call it like the spoon-fed mechanic, right? We were talking about real life here. It's one of those things where you don't think you need it, but as soon as you have it, you can't go back to not using it.
Playing global is hell without Gopher. It's as people that have been playing GP, right? I play global, and I'm like, I could have used the King Petrify right now, but I don't have Gopher.
Doing guild boss without Gother is a nightmare. Because I've done 100+ runs. I have never gotten a single level 3 freeze in 100 runs.
No, on JP, I did guild boss, was it yesterday? I think it was reset, and I did them all in one try because I just gotta go for rank up, and that's all you need. You just need to get one go for rank up, and whatever happens afterwards, you just got it. That's all you need. Just one go for rank up to help you out.
And we mentioned this with Bond a little bit, where the speed of clearing content just gets like significantly faster when you use Bond. Now the same thing, but on steroids with Gothar. Your raids, they're twice as fast.
No, raids are just inexplicable better. Like, he's just ranking, having attack boosts at level 3, plus having the attack cards at level 3, is just a different world. It's just a completely different story.
Doing raids right now is a nightmare. Because doing 6 raids takes you like 2 hours.
Yeah,
But it's like doing 6
let's
raids
say
on JP,
on
45 minutes at
global,
most?
right? Even on global, I think you can do that, right? If you just get the level 2 of Gopher of one of the players, because it's 2 players, right? That's like, you can kill the Grey in 1 turn. You can easily kill you just boost with Halberd, level 3, boost with Gilfan, level 3, and attack with King. You can kill him if he gets 2 crits. Not on extreme, on hard. But on GP we can. Just one-shot the extreme. So it's like Gopher is so good.
My Jericho.
And then you don't even have time to build Jericho, because you kill him so fast.
That's the problem. Jericho actually becomes worse, because he can't scale.
I just love Gopher. And I think we're done. Bastion in the game.
That's it. Just use him, become in love with him, buy every single... If you spend money on this game, right? And an outfit for Gothar comes out, buy it. Please.
And this outfit for Gopher, which is the best one in my opinion, is free, so...
Super boss battle.
Yeah. And he's gonna have a banner, right? So I assume everyone should summon for the banner. If you don't pull him, just buy him from the coin shop. Necessary. That's pretty much about it.
Must have unit.
Yeah. Subscribe to Mystic. He's gonna be in the description. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.